Further discussion, gentleman from St. Louis County.
To inquire of the sponsor.
This is a gentleman from Newton Yield.
Yes.
Still good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Yeah, it is. Just barely.
A few weeks ago, this bill came in front of our committee on education. Is that right?
Yes.
And I found myself in the very strange position of agreeing with you and the gentleman from the Chappelle District on something that came out of the Education Committee.
Yeah, it's awesome when that happens.
And many of the points have come up already in the debate, but I did want to sort of reiterate and go over some of them, because as you might understand, I heard from a different contingency, in and around my district as well. Sure. People who are concerned about, if we do this, it might be anti-competitive because, for example, homeschool students, you can't keep them to the same GPA requirements, or you may have a homeschool student who's able to, they play tennis and they're able to get private tennis lessons at a time when a public school student is expected to be in the building, some sort of situation like that. So you can see in a lot of sports, the elite gymnasts are predominantly homeschooled, the elite tennis players are predominantly homeschooled, those sorts of things. That was one of the concerns. Another one was about team unity. Another one was about what about the anti-competitive nature of if a student is absent in a public school, they can't participate that day, but a homeschool student, it's difficult to enforce that same sort of rule. And what I told them is the same sorts of thing that you've talked about and others have talked about on the floor here. I said, look, the benefits of sport are enormous, right? You talked about developing leadership and creativity, I believe, in your initial remarks. You talked about developing a feeling of belonging, and others have talked about it too, belonging in the community and with peers. We talked about a parent and how they're already paying property taxes into this. It seems like their child shouldn't be discriminated against on that basis. We talked about just a bias of these are children. We should just let them play. You'd agree with all those as being great reasons? We should give them the opportunity to at least pursue that, yes. Yeah, and obviously we passed the amendment. They have to try out and those sorts of things. But in the end, what I believe it was you, it might have been someone else, said just kids do better if they play, was a comment that I heard here on the floor. Another comment I heard was that we need to embrace liberty, right? The state shouldn't be preventing these children from participating. Right. We talked about how this population, homeschool students, face a level of discrimination. Would you agree with that? Yes. We talked about how the numbers, the percentage of total students out of all Missouri students who are homeschooled is relatively small. Would you agree with that? Yes. Okay. And is that a reason also why we should support this bill? We're not making a massive change in how high school or middle school sports are run, right? Yeah. Okay. And we talked about, it's really just about giving the opportunity for children to participate and be children. You'd agree that that's a good part of this bill? Yes. And so I supported this bill in committee. I voted for it to come out of committee. And then you're the chair of the Committee on Government Efficiency, is that right? That is correct. Okay. Mr. Speaker, to speak on the bill.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Mr. Speaker, I was a yes on this in committee, and then yesterday in the Committee on Government Efficiency, at the chair's request, we voted over my opposition to exclude a small percentage of Missouri students from participating. Even though their parents pay property taxes, the kids should play. Sporting develops a sense of belonging, leadership, creativity. Kids do better if they play. We voted to exclude about a dozen Missouri students from being able to participate. And again, the sponsor is the chair of that committee, and for that reason, I just can't endorse the hypocrisy, and I'll be voting no today. Thanks.